Good afternoon, everyone. I, on behalf of Export Promotion Council for Handicrafts, welcome you all to this very important awareness seminar on From Maker to Market, end-to-end strategies for brand building and visual merchandising. This is a very, very apt and important discussion because, as we all know, that handicraft business is a creative business. It's an innovative business, and you all are part of this. And most of you also participate in IGM Delhi Fair, which is, as you all know, is one of the largest handicraft fairs in the world. And we are reaching the 60th edition of the show that is going to be held in October. And how to display your products, how to create brands. That is a very, very important strategy that we need to learn and introduce in our businesses. So today we have with us Ms. Aarti Roy. She is a brand strategist, retail innovator, and founder of the Creators Guild. Aarti ji is a respected voice in India's lifestyle and craft-based brand ecosystem with over 2 decades of experience. She has held various senior positions, leadership roles in institutions like Fab India, and was also instrumental in buying and sourcing at Lifestyle Dubai, Monsoons Accessorize, William E. Connor India, and many more. Aarti ji believes in brands are stories in motion. We believe in that too. So let's hear her, and she's going to make a presentation. I would request you all to listen to her very carefully and write down your questions. And once she's done with your presentation, you can pose the questions to her. So let's welcome Aarti ji.
Welcome everyone. Saturday afternoon. I hope you're feeling up for this. It's a very, very important conversation. It's a very relevant conversation. It's a topic very close to my heart. So I'm very glad that you all were able to make the time. So, building your brands. I understand how many people are here who are actually founders or manufacturers. Can you just raise your hands? Okay, there's many more this side somehow. And how many of you are genuinely looking to make a brand? Oh, okay. Okay. And why is this so important? Why do you think making a brand is going to change life or do anything?
I think long-term goals, this is what I feel.
Yeah.
Sustainability of the business, if you have a brand, you sustain
Yes.
over a much longer time period.
Yes. Recognition. Yes. Sustainability, yes. Recognition, yes. Long-term equity, for sure.
Sales.
Sorry?
Higher sales.
That's not always guaranteed.
Not a guarantee, but a path one can look at.
That's one of the
You have greater control in whatever you do. That is for sure. Does not necessarily guarantee sales.
No, there's
Losses
no
are
guarantee.
completely
Yes,
yours.
I do understand.
Promoting India through our handicrafts.
That's a passion vision.
Yes.
Yes. And that's I think any brand needs to have a very clear and deep-rooted passion behind it. Because building a brand is a difficult exercise. So unless and until you're truly committed to it, it's not going to happen. Manufacturing a lot of things, listing it on Amazon and just seeing sales churn and putting in money into performance marketing, that's a different ball game altogether. Reach, okay, I'll buy you, I will buy you, I will buy you. Okay, you make the money out of that sale and you are at home and you're happy. That's a different business. But if you still want to exist 15 years from now, 20 years from now, and be known as, that was the person who thought about this and this happened. That's a different and very patient exercise. So anybody who wants to should be truly committed to it and have the both emotional, mental stability and also the financial equation to handle it. So, what is a brand? There's a lot of people selling product, but a brand is more than a logo. It's the emotion people feel when they see, use or talk about your product. What do you think of when you think hot chocolate fudge? One name when you think of hot chocolate fudge.
Nirulas.
Nirulas.
Correct. There's Gianni, there's Baskin, there's so
Yeah.
10,000 others. Why Nirulas?
It was the first one.
Pioneers.
Not just the first one. I think when it came, nobody existed. So it just ruled completely. And it doesn't matter that it has sort of not kept up with the game today. It still is just playing on your mind. It's that instant connect. That is very, very, very difficult to achieve at. You think of craft-led product, true craft, first name, Fab India.
Oh.
There's so many others, small, big, whatever, whatever. But consistently delivering on a promise, Fab India. So it's built through consistent storytelling, thoughtful design and meaningful experiences. At its core, a brand is the promise that you make to the customer, which you don't falter on. When you're saying, okay, come and look at me and buy me, I'm committing to you that this is what I deliver and I will not falter on it repeatedly. So, why does branding matter? I mean, you're manufacturing, I'm sure you're running successful businesses, there is a P&L already inside. Why get into this headache of creating a brand? It's not easy. So why get into it? There is excessive consumerism. I think in various forums, we have all read about it, heard about it, experienced it firsthand. People are a little tired of all the Me Too's. Demand is slowing down, retail is suffering because every so-called brand today looks the same. You enter a mall and you're looking at men's shirts from one store to the other to the other. You don't know where you are standing. You go to a Louis Philippe, to a Van Heusen, to an Allen, they all look the same. So similarly, you go to a Westside or a Fab India, or they pretty much Jaipur, they look the same. You could be in any store and you wouldn't know the difference. So what has happened? Because there is no more investment in identity, there is no more investment in connect, there is a rush for higher sales figures because most of the people have taken on money from investors. Investors are seeing 3 years, give me the return. Okay, to do the return, I have forgotten my vision and I am gunning for bigger and bigger top lines. Probably my bottom lines are also compromised, probably my quality is compromised, probably my pricing is way over, but I am in the game. I'm trying to just up my top line so that somebody buys me off and I get some return for all the hard work I've done and the vision is no longer important. But on the other hand, there are very, very patient small people who are doing genuine good work and are still getting acknowledged and they are just staying in it and they're probably supplementing their incomes via some other channels but are genuinely wanting to make a difference and create something fresh. So, but from the consumer mindset, there is genuine awareness and recognition for true stories. People who are actually making a difference. I mean, look at Cardo, look at Eka, look at 1111. People who are true in what they are doing. They might be small, but they are actually doing some grassroots work. Things are changing on account of whatever they are doing. One, there is a consumer shift. Secondly, there is a huge rise in the D2C exports. D2C exports as well as local consumption. There is a significant rise in the amount of D2C listings that we are seeing. There's almost a 45% growth in the handmade category. Indian handicraft exports, on the other hand, are also on a significant rise. So, can these two be clubbed and things be done? Of course. While India has very few, China has a lot of examples of people who were OEM manufacturers and have focused on certain key segments, created their own brand identities, and I'm sure this presentation will be made available to all of you,
Yes,
whoever
yes,
is trying to,
yes,
because the
sure.
picture will not even come correctly. So you know, for example, Zenz or Lofter or Yang Design or D Corpo, you know, resin and polyresin and metal crafts, they have now focused into a league of product which only does statues, figurines, wall panels, and they are on Amazon, on Wayfair, on Etsy. So there is nothing, when you think about a brand, you have to think about the world, and you don't necessarily have to think about a small geography. Because as long as I stay focused on a product, the market could be anywhere. So several examples from China, and a lot of them are fairly big. I mean, I took only the ones which were home and lifestyle relevant. On the consumer durable side, there are extensive and very large players. Why this is a good time? Is because suddenly in the past year, I mean, our startup itself is about 10 months old now. But in an year, things have changed hugely. There are various debates around, AI and ChatGPTs and Midjourneys and, you know, all of these softwares. But us being startups ourselves, we know what the benefit is. You could not have achieved the quality, efficiency of marketing, of photo shoots, of product ideation, of research, of analytics. You could not have done what you are able to do today an year back without having a very large team with senior resources, 20 years of experience, this, that. You would not have been able to do it. Today, it is available to you in 20 minutes. You want to punch in a brief and say, okay, I want a new line of product for this market, for this customer, there you go. And it will come to you so accurate that if you have the skill to execute, there is just no shortage of ideas across materials, across markets, across customer profiles, across merging things. So, I mean, whatever you have in your head, you know, funny thing is Midjourney, the software, the prompt starts with imagine. And every time I'm using it, I'm like, imagine. What could you imagine? Now the limitation is yours. So, but today the technology supports you to execute whatever you were unable to explain to anybody just 6 months back. You can show them physical visuals like almost ready photo shoots. You can show them audios, videos. You can write poetry. You can do anything you want. Anything as a child you might have imagined I want to do, but somehow by this point you think you can't. All of that is possible today. So these are very, very interesting times. Startups can really deliver much greater efficiency across portfolio of work in very little time at very little cost. Should you know how to use all these things. So marketing is completely outsourced. I think the way we understand marketing in departments today is fairly redundant. So this is Philippe G's brand, our very own chairman of the EPCH.
Past chairman. Past chairman.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes, first chairman. So why brand building? I mean, considering you're already into manufacturing, of course higher margins. You are selling at FOB and you know already that the retailer is selling 3x in India or maybe 5x internationally. You already know that. You are producing, you have control on production, you probably also have a reasonably solid design department, you are aware of the trends, you are aware of the sales also because you know how much the orders you're getting. So how to cross the bridge to take yourself to market and make all of those 3x, 5x margins. That's where brand building comes in. So higher margins, of course, you have complete control and creativity. A lot of times we just typically, I mean, I've been a buyer 5 years myself for various departments, and the challenge has always been, how do you find new product? Where do you find new ideas? Because you are literally sourcing every 3 months. Every 3 months you want to see new production. The quality supplier bases who will also deliver on time and at the right cost are limited. But you don't see the design intervention. Where is the new product? Why are they unable to create? Because they are so used to working on briefs which come back from buyers. So point is, if I have the technical know-how, if I have the infrastructure set up, a little investment in thought process and design can really take me miles, right? So complete control and creativity, and which has to do with user experience. If you were to receive that product, how would you like to get it? What kind of packaging, what kind of aroma, what kind of experience? And that is what will make me remember the brand. You know what? I had ordered something from there. And of course, quality is a given, price is a given. Customer loyalty, I mean, you can create your own loyalty. As you see the game, you can control whether I want to start with 2 products, I want to start with 60, whatever is your bandwidth. But you have complete control on the exercise, which is very, very important as a founder. It can become a sustainable business, because there is no price pressure. If you are delivering quality, you know what the costs are, you have no intermittent margins or traders or wholesalers or distributors, you are straight to the market. All these things are available today. If you don't know D2C marketing, there are agencies available today who can, pick you up on your D2C ride, which verticals to place the product on, how to make them more visible, how to make it more engaging from the customer. So those are the agencies which kick in. But you can directly reach the customer today and see exactly how they are responding to everything that you're doing. If you tweak the message, if you tweak from ceramic to metal, let's say, what happens? If you change the size from this to this, what happens? If you change the price from this to this, you can get instant response, and that is what you need to go correct and build. So, and of course, if you have a brand, there is something for the press to talk about. A brand with a story, everybody wants to talk about it. Everybody wants to be associated with the right things today, right? Not so much, polyester, nylon, and mass-produced, and just in it for the volume. So this is a summary shot of what you could hope to achieve with your own brand, and what you might be already doing as a white label producer. The margins are significantly different. From FOB to retail, there is a significant amount of margin to be made. There are also related costs also, because once you bill at FOB, the money is yours, you have no further expenses. Out of that 60-70%, you have to account for almost 40% to go out as retail costs, whether you go offline, online, whatever. 40% is likely to be.
Sorry, they can't hear you at the back.
They can't?
At the back.
Hi, can everybody hear me?
Now, आप सुनाई दे रहा है? Can you hear now?
Yeah.
पीछे तक.
The last person. Can you hear me?
थोड़ा सा mic.
Without mic it is difficult.
Is it?
With mic.
Do you want me to revisit any of the previous things I said, or was that audible? Okay, any particular slide? Any particular slide you want me to talk about? Anji? Elementary. Okay. So, we were talking about why brand building is important. The obvious thing is margins, because anything that you do needs to be profitable and sustainable. So, as a own brand, you can expect 3x to 5x pricing, and you all are already familiar with it because you know to whoever you are supplying how they are selling. You're probably also putting the price tickets onto the product when you are handing it over to them. So you know exactly what it is retailing at. You have complete control over the creativity. A lot of times, the factory owners who are producing, they are quite aware with regards to what the buyer is doing, and a lot of times you might not agree. If I was to do it, I might do a little differently. I might have put a different assortment mix. I might have put a different pricing. I might have done colors differently, right? So all those ideas can come into play now, because after all of the learnings that you have with your buyers, you are very well positioned to create your own line, which could be a very successful line. Customer loyalty, because you can hope to get repeat purchases should a customer like the quality of the product and the price. And it can become a sustainable business because you are under no pressure to always be getting the buyer's business on account of pricing. That is not the game that you're playing anymore. So that is very, very sustainable. I mean, I was talking to some exporters a few months back at the IIGH, and that was the time when Trump was releasing his tariffs, or still deciding on what the tariffs are going to be. Is it going to be 30%? Is it going to be 10%? And all of that. And the buyers in the US were in a dilemma, the exporters were in a dilemma, and nobody knew what was going to happen. And there was already pressure coming back into the exporters that, okay, you will have to absorb 10% of the hit. Now what do? If you're running a factory, the factory has to operate on capacity, you have to pay the salaries, you have pretty much no choice. But if you're running your own, those are not things that you need to worry about. So intention here is not that, okay, shut down the factory and start your own brand, but this is something that maybe you can explore parallelly, because you have all of the running infrastructure costs already in place, which a brand requires. So if I am to start a business today, I will need to invest in all of these things which you are already running for other businesses. So you have that advantage. So obviously as a brand, you have, the press is going to want you more. And collaborations wise also, if you are doing a serious business and a good business, then a lot of international brands would want to collaborate and showcase your products if there is a good story behind it. So this was a summary of it. You, as a brand owner, you can very well expect 60 to 70% margins from your current FOB costs, which would be more in the range of 10 to 20% as a white label producer. If you can run a successful brand for maybe 5-10 years, if you can continue to exist itself and show an uptick every year, little growth, should you want to retire, you could very well sell it and retire. That is what a brand can be about. Should you want to hand it to your children, it's like investing in a property. But in a property, probably you don't have to make an effort every year to sort of increase its value. It happens automatically. Here you have to consistently spend effort to show growth in sales figures year on year, and then the returns can be much greater than any other asset. Right? So as a brand, you have no dependency on anybody else. You are pretty much the decision maker of everything you choose to bring. You have full creative control, you have a flexible lead time, you are not under pressure that, okay, fine, I need to produce 20 cushion covers every 3 months. That's not the thing. Depending upon the sales, you can choose to intervene, you can choose to change material, colors, anything that you think that the customers are responding to. And of course, there is a huge value addition with respect to the storytelling and packaging. Now, what does it take to create a brand? You have production facilities, you have technical skills, you have teams in place, you know the materials, you know the pricing. Now, how to build a brand? We started to say the brand has to generate some emotion in the customer, right? If I'm looking for storage containers, for example, on Amazon, I would go to Amazon to buy a storage, organizer or whatever. You will have maybe 1,000 listings on a product. What makes anything different? Obviously, people who figured the game, they know how to bring my product to the top. It's a killer pricing. It's always a sweet deal, and it will always feature on the top. And the more it sells, it will keep listing at the top, because Amazon that has no manual interventions. It is all AI driven. So people who figured out the game, who are in this D2C business itself, their products will always feature. How do I even start getting registered? How do I gain? So, which is where design, quality, price. What is it that the person sees and stops to go deeper? That becomes extremely important, because as a startup brand, you will approach the exercise digitally. So if you think that presentation, or I can compromise on presentation, I can compromise on the visual shoot, it's too expensive, I don't need it, the model doesn't need to be good, all of that is not a choice anymore, because you're literally approaching the customer via their mobile phone. So they're seeing this much of the screenshot, and if you're lucky, they might see it on the laptop. So in that span of time, you need to be able to catch their attention, right? So I'll show you a lot of examples visually on what happens and what is the difference. So a brand needs to have a clear purpose. So a lady said, I would like to have Indian handicrafts being showcased to the world. It's a very noble thought. There are so many Indian handicrafts, and handicraft businesses come with a huge amount of challenge. I myself working on a brand to do with Ajrak. Barish hogi khatam. Can't happen. I mean, I might have deadlines, launch dates, whatever. It doesn't matter. It's rained. Production is on hold. There's nothing that you can do. So how do you operate? So, I mean, this is a noble statement similar to she said, but you need to have a vision on why do you want to start a brand. Either the game is very clear that I am selling for somebody else, I will put my own label on it, it could mean anything, I don't want to have passion or this and that, I want to simply just scale up the business, show certain returns, find an investor, sell off the business and be happy. Very simple, very clear vision, and that is a very sensible approach also. It doesn't have too much pain because you're curating out of your 10,000 SKUs currently. Hello sir. Hello. So, from my 1,000 SKUs maybe which I'm supplying to my buyers, I'm curating 50 and saying that okay fine, I am putting my own label, changing the color and listing it, and that is how I'm increasing the sale. Much less painless than trying to create an identity. We said if you want the customer to generate an emotion when they talk about your brand, that is a different exercise. Money making is a different exercise. The brand eventually will also make money, but it will make money later probably. So the visions of why you are into this should be very clear. If it's a passion driven thing, you must have a very clear thought on what defines the brand. The consulting for a brand, which is a 1.5-year-old startup in apparel, they started with a very passion exercise on handlooms because the lady was very passionate about handlooms. So she started, working with the clusters, creating her own weaves and all of that stuff. 1.5 years down the line, they had lost their way and they knew it because there are so many people offering handloom. How are you the one? You are generating business via some exhibitions because you're very well networked and you're connected into the right areas of the society, so you're having some sales. Are you making money? No. Do you have a way forward? No. What should be the next collection? I don't know. So I'm saying, so then we brainstormed with the foundation, what do you feel, what do you want this to be, what do you resonate with, and we drew out a guideline. Said okay, nature, culture, community. 3 words which will guide everything that I do. Everything. Which means never will a polyester, rayon, this mix enter, it won't enter. It will always be around upliftment of the community. Right? And it will always have a craft element to it. So these guidelines, while they seem like fancy words and very consultant talk, these are the things which keep the brand together as a singular vision, which is what we find very, very less in India and very, very a lot internationally. Because people genuinely pay attention to the vision and the detail when they are launching anything, and then they don't want to deviate from it just because it is faster or it's easier. So the identity target, you have to first define the vision of what I want to do and why do I want to do it. Why is very important. Don't touch it otherwise. So if you're really, really committed to the vision, sure. And then who is likely to be my audience? That has to be step number 1. Okay, fine, I have a factory, great, it can do so many things. It can do metal, it can do wood, it can do glass and whatnot. But who do I wish to sell to? Who do you think could be a possible customer for what I offer? That should be very clear. I want to go to Middle East, different look altogether. Different look, different profile, different material, everything, choices are very, very different. US, very different. Europe, still a little different. India, from Kerala to Calcutta, very, very, very different. So, what do you want to, who do you want to cater to? Geography, customer profile, income bracket, reason for shopping with you, because it's not only the first time that they shop with you, you want them to shop repeatedly. So what is the product portfolio going to look like so that once you acquire a customer, which is a very expensive exercise, what will they come to you again for? These questions should be thought about and answered beforehand rather than starting to make products. You have to establish some core values because all your communications, all your brand loyalty will depend upon these core values. What does the customer associate you with? When I said Fab India, I said craft, I said artisan upliftment, I said natural materials. And the brand has stayed true to it for 60 years. Nothing has changed. And they've scaled. They're probably the biggest in this space. So it goes to say that it is not impossible to do it, but you need to stay with that thought repeatedly and not deviate. You have to find your vision and stay on it. So develop a brand identity. So whatever is your purpose, whatever is the target market, core values, etc., all these have to come in to form an identity for the brand. Identity for the brand typically revolves around a logo, it revolves around a color palette, it revolves around the tone of voice on what the brand, how the brand communicates or positions itself. And these are very, very, very important. Why? Because if you browse anything, try and see for yourself on any platform that you're looking for a product, which products stand out and they are repeatedly consistent and which seem like all the same. What makes the product unique or a page unique or an Instagram profile unique? Because the messaging is very, very consistent. Even these influencers today, so-called, they are playing in a very niche space and they have figured out what that space is for them, who's the audience and what kind of messaging works with that audience. Even the influencers have figured it out and they're making lots of money on that. So that is very, very important, it's non-negotiable. Because the logo, the brand palette, the website, the communication, the packaging, everything will follow that same theme. So I want to have a streetwear communication. My whole language, packaging, color palette, website, everything is very different. I want to have a very elegant, sophisticated, aspirational positioning. Everything changes accordingly. You can't just sort of do a mishmash of everything because then you have no identity. And if you have no identity, nobody knows you and nobody recalls you. You have so many people sitting in this room, right? You have all very different faces, but if I didn't know anybody's name, I wouldn't be able to call you up. Same thing. So, once you have your brand identity in place, you can craft your story, you can highlight the regions, you can bring about the stories of your brands, how it is made, what is the material, who is the artisan. And the more you get into the detail of the production and the artisan, the more the customer will associate with you. Because the customer wants to know you, they want to feel you, and they want to know how the product is made and why it is so special. So, with respect to strategies, and I'm using all these, Mianzi is a great thought also for people who know in lighting, some excellent design-led product. You have to have a niche focus. Ideally, if you have a very, very strong skill set with regards to your production or your capability in design, whatever that might be, try and come out with a niche offering. Don't try and become a me too. There are more and enough me toos, and the only reason people will then come to you is on account of price. And then again, they will still be China offering the same product at much better rates. So, if you have a niche, then think about a brand. The storytelling has to be very, very authentic, because today people are becoming more and more skeptical about what is being said and offered. I think even today there was a huge amount of debate on the AI, because even when you're doing Pinterest today, you don't know what is authentic and what is AI generated. You don't know anymore. You know nothing anymore. The video is real or it is completely graphically created. So with that, people are looking at more and more genuine stories, dirty hands, artisans talking, true notes from there. That is what people want and that is what they appreciate. So we don't want to buy run-of-the-mill, we want to buy something which is actually making a difference on the ground. The quality has to be consistent, so it is not, again I'm saying, when you are working D2C, customer acquisition is very, very difficult to grab the attention of the customer amongst all of this Instagram and Instagram world that we live in today. To get their eyeballs, to get their attention, to get them to engage with you is very, very difficult. Once you get them to engage with you, you need to hold on to them.
So quality, non-compromisable. So it has to be very, very consistent. The strategic collaborations are a very, very good route forward. Once you establish yourself 6 months down the line, you can look for strategic collaborators to, partner with and take you forward. Branded D2C. I mean, there is a various D2C. I hope everybody understands. I'm talking about direct to customer, wherein a straight away a producer reaches the customer directly. And branded products in the D2C space are likely to get 3 to 5x better visibility and return than a non-branded product. Because there is more than enough of everything available today. You just need to know where you have to look. Digital presence, brands with their own websites see 50% higher engagement than those relying on marketplaces. So you could be on a Wayfair, you could be on an Etsy, you could be on anything. Behoma, I think on Amazon is a very, very good example. Again, Moradabad, ladies from Moradabad export families who have started this. They've managed to get their own page on Amazon. The product looks excellent. There is so much brassware and metalware on Amazon, but they stand out. So it takes a lot of eye, patience, curation, design to arrive there. But once you remember Behoma, next time it's easy to find Behoma. Rather than looking for all brassware, which I know is going to be, I'll have to scroll through the 10th page. I know what to look for. That's what is the power of a brand. So, we said niche, authentic storytelling, quality, consistent, strategic collaborations, brand D2C, and we say creating differentiation. Again, in a world of Me Too's, what is your vision? Why is it different? Why should you make an investment and put in the effort to creating a brand which you know will take maybe 5 years for anybody to know that this is a brand. There is a rare rabbit in shirts. Again, a guy who comes from a textile background family and set out to create his own brand of shirts. But he was not doing any shirt. In terms of fit and silhouette, there is not so much distinctive, but the kind of bold language that he brought out in prints did not exist. Just did not exist when he started. And today, I think most of the brands are offering the same kind of handwriting, which are very, very bold men's shirts. Men's shirts, men were not supposed to be fashionable. Apologies to all the men here. But they've changed the game. They've changed the game. So again, a boy who grew up in a textile family, but had a vision because he was also exporting to Zara and H&M. He was a supplier to them. And he thought, I want to do my own brand. But he had a very clear vision that, okay, I want to do very, very bold prints for men. And they really took on in a market where nobody had seen them before. So you have to think about differentiation. Your passion has to convert physically, visually for your customers into something which is unique and stands out. So take an example of Chumbak. Nothing really unique in the kind of product they're offering, but the visual handwriting or the print handwriting or the color palette that they have chosen, and their owl and all of that. There's some signature elements to the brand handwriting. And anywhere, you might see it anywhere and you will say, this is Chumbak.
Yeah.
So, and what is it? It's maybe the initial thought was very well defined and curated, and now it is all digital printed. It's cheap product. It's nothing rocket science. I wouldn't call it a great product, but they have created a brand identity which is recognizable. And then they have come out with products which are very, very utilitarian. It is not only for decor, it is not only for, everything has a utility to it besides the aesthetics. So the audience is very clear. So signature styles, craft plus innovation, combining traditional techniques with modern functionality. You guys probably have all of the technique with you. People like me have vision and belief. We don't even own technique. You guys do. So I'm saying this should be combined with today's trends, today's visions, global approach, global lifestyles even in India today, because everybody is well traveled if you are looking at the right customer. So how do we bridge these two and actually start making some brands which are unique? Because India is the heart of craft, and yet It takes a Prada to brand a Kolhapuri. We all sort of had that debate, and it became such a huge debate on LinkedIn and all of that. But the fact is that why did we not do anything about the Kolhapuri chapel? Why? It took them to bring it to the fashion platform. Why did we not do anything? And which is why I'm saying, probably this is a horde of makers, designers, and people who know their piece. You just need to understand who is the customer, what can I bring to the table. It doesn't have to be 100 things, it can only be 2. But they are so cutting edge that they carry your stamp on it. You know? So craft and innovation. Innovation cannot be discounted, design cannot be discounted. India doesn't like to invest in design. I think when I started out this business, and I was very passionate about design, because 5 years having been a buyer, I was like, it's so difficult to find design. And why are people not doing? Why are people only, what sells in the US does not sell in India. Indian customer has a little different demand. Why are we not seeing more interesting product? And so when I started out, we were combining tech and design and experience to say that, okay, let's create something new. But did we find any buyers? No. Because right up front, I was told that, nobody's going to pay you for design. If you are not going to make investments in the right place, how do you expect to have cutting edge product? So I'm saying for you all who own manufacturing facilities, for you it's much easier, because people like us get dependent on a producer. We did some excellent exercises for one of the importers. It looked beautiful on paper, and we couldn't find a skilled artisan to convert. So, which is why I said, imagine, there is no shortage of vision. Anything can be thought about, techniques can be mixed and presented to you that can you make it? Can you make it? If you can really own the world, because most of the world does not have this handmade ability with them. So, packaging and storytelling. Now, if we can have that vision of a beautiful starting point, a story behind it, and then how it is getting converted, and then branded and showcased. Artisan Lab does a beautiful, packaging and product. You can showcase your transparent supply chains right through the process, and people love to see how it is made. People really spend time on those reels and videos online to see how the product is made and what is so unique about it, and who are the artisans who are working on it, how have you influenced their lifestyles and what has changed. So limited edition in drops, which creates the urgency. So it's not like I've created this line of 10 glasses today and you will find it next year also. No. I am a creator, I'll keep creating new things. And if you are interested in my product, you need to buy now. It's not available next year. Skip through this because I think we are taking too much time here. But this is the example of Vehoma. Maybe you guys can, this is Amazon's choice on Amazon. Again, a Moradabad, ladies who come from an export family, 235 likes, 4.5 stars. It's not easy to get here on Amazon. To get noticed and get so many likes, it's not easy. Typically, people put in a lot of money in performance marketing to arrive here. So, if you can, then this is the hot. You just have to, once one or two of your products make this kind of a listing, you have to just keep reordering. That's it. You have to do nothing. And your factory is your own. You just have to, reorder the material and keep producing. Nothing to be done. But you have to create a couple of winners like this to be able to sustain. When Nat Habit started, again a startup, they started with soaps only. And the only thing that I could see on Instagram, beautiful soap after beautiful soap. They started with an odd size. They had a odd engraving which you had not seen in soaps before. But the recording of the process, the mixing of the ingredients, the storytelling was so beautiful that they had lasted. They had lasted in an overpopulated space of personal care today. And now they have brought about a shampoo. Again, there is a huge story behind it on what is the research behind the shampoo, what are the ingredients, visits to their labs, intermixing ingredients, all of that. So that's the fun part. So packaging is important, collaborations, like H&M is very open to branded collaborations today. H&M as a platform is very, very open. I think Zara is also probably, getting there where you can, they're not necessarily asking you to white label and produce for them, because most of the brands are challenged with inventory. Because most of the brands themselves are not very sure on where they are going in, what should be the next round of buying. So if I am lost my way and I'm still answerable for a P&L, then I am bringing on board a lot of people who have very good stories behind them, and probably the product looks interesting, and I'm giving them space on my channel, which is what H&M is doing. You can come and showcase your own product on my channel, which is what Amala Earths is doing, which is what Jaipur is doing, right? So all these platforms, you have the skill to product, they have the skill to, probably not the skill, but they already have a channel existing which they need to populate to a certain level for it to be commercially viable, right? So which is where a lot of such opportunities exist for you, while your own website and your own Insta will take time to pick up. These kind of visibilities can give you a quick uptick. So I was asked to talk about visual merchandising. Visual merchandising is more a term which is relevant to offline brick and mortar retail. From the context of D2C, which should be the right starting point for a new brand, it is more visual storytelling. Because literally your image is the only thing that the customer might see for a very long time, till you have a physical store, or till they land up with your product. They will see nothing else about you. They will only see these images. So on such an image, now this is Orange Tree, that is Orange Tree, and that I think is Ananthaya. So amongst all of the, Instagram typically you look at for maybe a second or two. If there is a reel or something, you might browse on it for a little longer, but there are so many of anything that you really need to be able to catch somebody's attention. But that is very, very difficult. So if there is something authentic, something unique, something really out of the box and something really pretty, you will stop and look at it. So display is very, very important, whether you are creating your store display for the IIGH or whether you are doing a presentation for an Instagram shoot. These are non-compromisable. Thankfully, as I said in the beginning, technology exists today which can deliver such visuals without the necessary huge marketing costs behind it. You don't have to have like an art director and a creative director and a brand strategist, and all of those things can be compressed into maybe one or two people, and all this is possible. So, but you have to recognize the fact that display that reflects your identity leads to higher conversion and sales by easily 12 to 15%. As you get into your listing journeys, you will see how difficult it is to sort of just record your first, likes or, So grouping by collection, again, this is something that we used to keep telling all our exporters and everybody that, don't design a product, design a theme, design a collection around it for it to be registering. Because every product can be individually beautiful, but then you would want to sell 2, 3 together. That is how your bill value rises. Why would you send only one? So the use of natural props can really enhance the setting. Artisan bios create connection, which is very, very important. Storytelling. Consistent signage can build memory and recall. And create photo-worthy. Today anything that you are doing, whether it is an IGH store or whether it is your photo shoot or whether it is, everything has to be Instagram-worthy. Simple as that. That is the go-to place where you will probably be seen first. That is where you will be seen first. And all of the, whether it is Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, everything is today powered by AI. Their analytics are extremely sharp. They know exactly what is going on, which is the customer who's seeking what. So if you're positioning correctly and clearly, not very mixed, chances are you will reach the customer sooner than later. And what has happened, what has been the impacts of all of your posts or reels or whatnot, that learning will be back to you in a very, very detailed fashion on a monthly basis, on a weekly basis, however soon you want to look at it. So you can choose your corrections quickly. So again, examples of good storytelling, Elementary again, Artisan Labs, and that is the House of Bacon. Just the visual imagery which makes you stop, the color mixing and all of that. Again, some very nice visuals. This is Cardo, the House of Cardo. And this is from a brand called Eka. So it's not just product. When you're talking about a brand, people want to know who you are, where you come from, where do you live, how do you live, what is your community, you know? So the mood of it. And Cardo has, I think, recently received investment from LVMH because it's been, they're doing a lot of use of recycled fabrics in a very, very innovative fashion. And they have been acknowledged at the global level. So, but the storytelling is what I wanted you to look at. It is not always about only product, it is also about what is happening in my factory, who are my artisans, how painstaking the work is. A comparison of Elementary versus an unbranded exporter. We've talked about all of this. The key takeaways are that Elementary positioned Indian craftsmanship for a premium lifestyle conscious buyer. Dilip ji himself has some excellent taste. And he's been supplying globally to the best of the brands, and he's put his vision to good use via his own brand, which has a very, very clearly focused audience, because it is a metro brand, it is dealing with a cosmopolitan consumer, it is only dealing in select amount of categories. They are not trying to do everything. The color palette is very, very finely controlled. The language of the brand is very finely controlled. It is very contemporary. It is inspired Scandinavian, but with hints of India. So very, very good balance that they have arrived at, and they're sticking to it. On the other hand, as a exporter, you can continue to export, and it'll maybe take you 10x of the volumes to export to make the same amount of money that you might do as a brand. Now, this is what I was saying. Why a brand and why white labeling? Everybody is doing earthenware. This is on India Mart. You're getting it at $200 also, right? And this guy also might be making some, and then there is Elementary, then there is Clay Mango. Look at the difference in the pricing. That's retailing at $20.60, and this I think is some $3,900 Clay Mango.
Clay Mango is also India brand?
Yeah, it is. It's a one-year-old I think startup. So what is the difference? Look at the finishing. Look at the design intervention. Now, a terracotta guy, this guy, knows how to make pots. Could he make those? Sure, he could, if he had the vision. Right? So, this is the difference. Investing in the right things, and then look at the premium that you can command. And these are, all three are listed online only. I mean, Elementary has some stores, Clay Mango has no stores, and that guy also doesn't have stores. So, another example of House of Akam. House of Akam is doing brilliantly. It's on Etsy, it's on Wayfair, it's on Amazon, Amazon.com. So, very, very interesting space. Now, but the same Sabai grass baskets are available on India Mart as well. So, from a 320 rupees to 12,500 rupees for a set of 14. Even that. So significant jump, but also look at the quality of the product, look at the representation, look at the color palette, look at the design intervention, look at the whole mix, and she's making a story around it. She's not trying to sell you a only individual basket. Because it doesn't make sense. What do you do with this one basket? She's telling you how to display it, how to use it, which is what a brand would do. The Decor Cart, another example, a huge mix of product available with them across materials. Now, very close references of a planter stand could easily be made Muradabad. 2,000 rupees a piece, and that is 75-60 for one piece. Right? Now, a guy who can do this can also do that, but could he show the product like that in a very, very nice mood setting on a beautiful website? And have a story behind it, your room can look like this, and AI itself can write like 10 kinds of content behind it. Okay, this room setting can look like this room setting can look like this, you can use it like this, you can and I can have 10 designer tips around it, that, to say that these are the things you can add, this is recommended by a Vastu, etc., etc. All of that is possible. The story which makes it convincing, because if the customer has reached you, he should be able to shop then, and he should be totally convinced. Fab India, I mean, these are things that I bought myself. So 1250 available and 3999. Pure cotton, hand block printed bed sheets. No rocket science there, but when you are buying Fab India, you are trusting the quality that you will receive. You have that assurance. With these people, you don't have that assurance. What the quality might be, will the color bleed, not bleed, sizing might be wrong, could be anything. Is it really pure cotton? I don't know. But when I buy Fab India, I know it is pure cotton. That is what the confidence in the brand has to be there. This is the House of Things. So, I mean, that piece is 13,000 something. That little ball or goblet, or I mean, not goblet, but a tiny little patwas kind of thing. And then they have a whole story. So this is the whole story behind it. This one, and the single piece is about 30,000 something. It's a marble and probably aluminium or steel combination. But they have positioned it in such a unique light, and they have made this House of Things about tie-ups with the Feroz Gujral and all of these collaborators, the collective and all of that. So it has positioned itself that whatever you find there is unique, is very, very design-led. If you are buying something from them, you are likely not to find it anywhere else. I am not in the business of mass produce. I am not in the business of being available or visible everywhere. I am for the select few, and hence I command 500% margin, and I'm okay to do that. Different business again, right? Then there is Kashmir box. Now again, a hand embroidered cushion available on India Mart, 150 rupees a piece, and that is Kashmir embroidery at 34.50. This is also authentic, different craft, but this is also authentic. And but the quality of imagery, where I can't even see what the product is. I mean, I might pay 500 if just the image was better. So no attention to, because I'm listing on India Mart, but even on India Mart, who would come and pick you up? And I might pick up bulk if I'm going to India Mart. But you should at least be able to see the product. Amrapali, again a beautiful clutch, and they moved from jewelry to add all of these accessories into their game. Almost touching 50 crores now, this brand Amrapali. What is so unique? Probably not much. There are more than enough beautiful embroidered clutches available in the market today, but Amrapali is a brand. If I'm gifting to someone and it's from Amrapali, it commands a certain perceived value in their mind, which is also what we used to see about Fab India. It's not like all the product was hugely unique, but when you're gifting Fab India, you know you're gifting quality, you're gifting heritage, you're gifting culture, you're gifting true craft. So that's the value and the power of a brand. Again, 200 rupees a piece for this canvas embroidered clutch bag. Componero, excellent example of an exporter turned brand. They have mastered, and they've kept a very, very strong signature handwriting with this beautiful weave that they do, which you keep seeing reinterpreted into different formats of their bags. And some very, very quirky colors which they keep coming out with occasionally, while they still continue with the basics of leather. So, again, 1750 versus some 6700 on discount. And very, very popular brand. So it's not like they've shut down their export business, but their parallel domestic brand is equally strong. Dilip ji, we already spoke about. Basant, who's again a very, very big factory based in Jodhpur. He started his own brand of Orange Tree. It started out with lighting, and now they have entered into full-scale, large format home stores, carrying their whole line of furniture. So, huge opportunities. Because one of the key things that retailers get stuck with also is what to do with the inventory. Now, as an exporter, I already have some leftover inventory. If I'm working with the right buyers, my inventory is probably very, very appropriate and suitable to the Indian audience also. So I already have leftover stock. I can keep it in my store should I have the space. Should I not sell, I can move it and rotate it very, very easily. I can recycle it very, very easily. Those are the controls which a manufacturer has, which a retailer doesn't. So, amongst all the brands that we saw and spoke about, what do you think is in common? Anything which has stood out? Yes, the presentation. I mean, firstly, the product itself, how it is designed and curated, and then the presentation of that. So I might have 10 beautiful things, but if I'm not able to communicate, nobody knows what you have in mind. So, huge amount of investment in positioning, creating the right product, pricing it correctly, showing it correctly. Only these three things are required if you want to sell. And the good thing is, I mean, I was running P&Ls for Fabindia for almost 9.5 years for stores. And I can tell you, if I was ever asked to do a store display like that, with all of those Sabai grass baskets, out of 300 plus stores, we would be able to showcase this in maybe 10. And even in those 10 stores, after a week, it would be looking different. You have no control. And here, online, you have total control. Once you shoot correctly, nobody is going to touch it till you decide to change. So that's huge, because this is what the customer is going to see and get excited that, oh, this looks pretty. This is from Orange Tree, their new collection, The Story. Basant. Beautiful work is doing.
Yeah.
So we were saying, what do these brands have in common? Very, very clear positioning. They are not confused. Anantya is not trying to be a brand for everyone. They are trying to be for the Firoz Gujrals, and they are trying to be for the Bollywood community. You know, they are not aiming even to have too many stores and be on Amazon and be on Jaipur. No, they're not trying to do that. They're very clear on who they're wanting to be. It's a small brand, maybe 10-15 crores or something. But that is what they have identified their niche, and that's the game they are playing. Similarly, Orange Tree setting up, completely accounting for their huge infrastructure and capabilities and coming out with a segment which is open. Also remember, the space of home and lifestyle in India is a fairly vacant space with respect to brands. There are not too many Indian brands in this place. The biggest home store or the home business operator is Home Center. It is not a design-led space. It is a space which is a mishmash of sourcing from China, sourcing from India, somewhat design-led but largely curated from the factories. So, do we have a Williams Sonoma? Do we have a Western? Do we have a Pottery Barn? All of them sourced from India. Do we have one comparable brand in India? Maybe a Good Earth. Has Good Earth been able to scale? No. So, in the branded, curated, design-led space, I would think Fabindia was the sole occupier of that position. Could we have scaled higher? Yes. If we were not trying to fight the battle with all the kurtas in the customer's mind. Right? So, anybody who chooses to step in, small or big, there are various pockets of this business which are a sitting opportunity in India. So, very clear positioning. What do I want to do? What is my risk-taking ability? What is my bandwidth? What is my financial ability, etc., etc. And who is the market, or what is the gap that I want to tap into? Very, very clear. To tap into that positioning, what are going to be my distinct products, both from a design and quality perspective? Same design can be offered in 10 different qualities. Who is the customer I'm trying to reach, and how and why will define what quality. Yeah, I want to, a gentleman was talking to me before this for inlay work in marble from Agra. Now, very expensive, beautiful technique. Who's the audience? Can it be scaled down? Of course it can be scaled down. You could make soap dishes, like really small. You don't have to make those grand tables. The grand tables are for the architects and interior designers, and you should be able to custom make them at the required design aesthetics. But a smaller soap dish, beautifully packed for happy birthday mom, right? Emotion, which is where we started with. A brand will convey emotion. They will be able to tap into some sensibility of yours. And then, of course, you have to invest in presentation and communication. That is a non-negotiable expense. Again, technology seriously enables for this to be done at much lower costs today. We created an example strategy for, all of you who are wanting, and there were several hands up who wanted to start their own brands. So, for example, if there is an exporter of metal handicrafts in Muradabad, let's say, who wants to transition from OEM to their own brand, how could they go about it? Yeah. So you will first and foremost have to come out with a product strategy. Okay. After answering, okay, what is my vision? Why do I want to get into it? Who is my audience? How will I reach them? Then the most important third piece is, what is my product and design strategy going to be? It seems very simple here, but it runs into significant Excels and charts, because you have to break down the product by the number of SKUs, the number of sizes, the number of prices, the number of materials, and my distribution channels. Is it going on Amazon? Is it going on Myntra? Is it going on Tata Click, etc., etc.? How much am I going to buy? How much quantity can I risk, etc., etc., etc. It's a fairly detailed exercise, but to summarize, there can be a core range. Now, why a core range is important is because you do not want to invest in design every cycle. There should be at least 60 to 70% of my portfolio which I should be able to run repeatedly, and keep experimenting with 30 to 40% of my portfolio, which gets me new consumers. So if I come out with 10 successful products, I should be able to run them for, let's say, 3 years or 5 years, and not having to redesign every cycle, because it is good design is a huge investment. It doesn't happen so easily. So if you're making the investment, it should be able to run at least a couple of cycles before you change it, and that is what the core range is. It's also to do with products which are the most easily received and accepted, the most popular products in the segment. For example, candle stands, trays, photo frames, votives, they are the fastest moving products in this segment. So they become the core range. Then you can have some on top of that functional collectibles, like barware, vanity accents, table organizers. These are add-ons. Should I have the wherewithal, I can choose to it. So my product range has to be segregated into what is absolutely important, what is good to have, and to what extent do I want to make the investment. And then, of course, anything that I'm doing at a scale can be created into a small, sensible gift pack. And gifting, again, is a completely open opportunity in India today. Is there even one single brand or store which comes to your mind when you think of gifts? And today people gift for every reason. I'm going to somebody's home for dinner. What choice do I have outside of taking a bottle of wine, maybe? Everybody is gifting for every reason, to make something memorable. When we were young, I think there was some store called Archie's, where you would go and you would pick up these mugs and which had cute messaging and all of that. But where can you go today? We were repeatedly told that Fabindia was a preferred go-to destination for picking up gifts. But that is as a department of gifting, it was created only 2 years ago. But the minute we created it, it was seeing like 600% growth. So I'm saying there is so much product, but can it be captured into packs and combined with beautiful messaging, which is a no-brainer pick for somebody who's looking for, for a mom you'll make a different mix, for a dad you'll make a different mix, for, I love you, I'll put in something else, or I'm sorry, you'll put in something else. And everything can be customized and messaging can be built on. So I'm saying there is so much opportunity for people who can actually make product
It's how you package.
So if I'm very, very clear in terms of my positioning, okay, I want to, export to XYZ stores in the Middle East, my positioning will be very different. I'm looking at a few tie-ups in, Australia maybe, my positioning is very different. My design language, my color palette, my material choices, everything will vary. So, for example, for this Muradabad person, from where we were here, which is very, very seen, could be here. It doesn't require them to reinvent the wheel from a production lens, but to the customer it presents a very, very fresh look. So that is where design steps in. So I mean, you could be using different materials, or even patina finishes on aluminium for that matter, not to make it very expensive. You have a clear, well-defined tone, which is where when we were talking about branding or a vision for the brand, we were saying, what do you want to say? You want to be like quirky and vibrant like Chumba? You want to be Scandinavian sophisticated like Elementary? What is the tone of voice of the brand? What does it stand for? Next time I think Elementary, what will come to my mind visually? It should be that strong. And it should be that consistent. With one cycle of poor sales, don't just reinvent the strategy. You have to stay at it. So, what is the kind of look and feel, and that is going to define. The tone is sophisticated, rooted, functional. The values are slow-made, heirloom quality, everyday luxury. These are the things when we were talking about brand identity. What will the brand say? What will the brand mean to the customers? These are the things. And all of those are going to be very, very helpful when you're marketing. Because when you're marketing, I can say, okay, fine, brass, copper, urli. Nobody cares. But I have to weave a story around it. From the temples of Kerala and the motifs of the deities and stuff like that. I have to weave a story, and then suddenly the customer views it in a different light. That yes, this is precious. So, despite having a very clear customer focus and design direction, you need to be calling out what is the differentiation of your brand, which is where we are talking about the USP. What are those 3 guiding pillars or 2 guiding pillars of the brand which make you unique? The visual identity, the product handwriting conveys it, but what are truly the pillars? Maybe you stand for, just women empowerment in Rajasthan. So what you are talking about is, I started with 10 ladies who were doing my bags, and today I'm employing 20. And with every week, I update that cycle that, okay, fine, today it's 20 and tomorrow it is 100. That is what the customer is following you for, that, I am helping in bringing about some change on the ground. But what are those differentiating factors for you? I mean, made in Muradabad with purpose, for example. So, most of us who appreciate these metal products have never been to a Muradabad factory. We don't know what the process is and how painful in this kind of scorching heat of Delhi. How do those people work in those factories next to the furnaces? So the pain of the process needs to come through. Food safe finishes could be a call out, recycled or upcycled, big, very, very big words today. Recycled, upcycled, sustainable, all of these are very, very big words. So they can easily become differentiating call outs when you are going to launch the product or to talk about it. And you can always launch, limited artisan series. So if I engage with a master craftsman and I have created like 3-4 SKUs which are a new collection of mine, I can say, okay, this is the craftsman made by Leela Devi in Rajasthan, for example.
Leela Bodiaj you're talking about?
Sorry?
Leela Bodiaj you're talking about?
No, I was just giving a reference. So, some things which make it real for the customer. The go-to-market strategy can very well be digital first. It should be digital first if you want to keep your expenses very, very tight. You decide on all of your brand identity pieces, your brand name, your color palette, your visual identity, everything. You create a website. You launch on your website as well as onto Nykaa Fashion is good. Jaipur is very, very good. So this brand, Imli Street, listed on Jaipur. Advantage is that Jaipur has a significant following, plus your brand name is getting visible. So if I repeatedly like Imli Street, I can go back to Imli Street's page where I might not get a direct advantage, but maybe the product assortment could be wider.
So on my own brand site, I could have 100 SKUs, but I have shown only maybe 50, 60 of my bestsellers there. So my idea would always be to pull back customers to my own brand site rather than anywhere else. So Etsy, Amazon, Wayfair, again, excellent platforms to find good product. And you will get your 3 to 5 times of your FOB rate, which is a sitting advantage. You also have complete control on inventory, so depending upon which SKU is selling and you're seeing it quickly, you can respond that much faster, which a retailer is not able to. Because by the time the retailer, and especially brick and mortar retailers, because by the time the sales data collates and you know what is selling, then you will prepare the orders, the prepares will get approved in the budget, all of the orders, and then it will get released to the factory. Factory will study it, confirm delivery dates, confirm revised prices, etc., etc. You have lost almost 30 to 45 days. But you don't have to worry about it. Because if you start with only 10 products, let's say, and you're seeing that 5 of them are moving very quickly, I don't even have to create a pool of inventory. My sampling department itself can create my first run, and after that I have to quickly replenish. The minute it is finishing, I keep some backup stock and I keep replenishing it on the go. So you guys have a lot of advantages actually. So build trust, quality packaging, brand story, artisan photos, founders working with artisans on the factories, personal notes to the customer, all of these handwritten messages and everything, they make it special. They make the customer feel important, which actually nobody cares to do anymore. You could probably look at a projected investment of 25 to 40 lakhs to create a brand, depending upon what amount of scale, and a break-even period of about 1.5 to 2 years. There's a lot of math which goes into this, in terms of what the assortment mix should be, what the pricing strategy should be, how much are you likely to sell on full price, how much are you likely to end up discounting, etc., etc. And eventually somewhere around this, the math hits. Boutique retail or brick and mortar should be phase 2. Only and only if you have seen the required success online. If you are profitable online and you are seeing growth month on month, year on year, only then think about brick and mortar. Because brick and mortar can add significantly to expenses. So D2C, you will lose that 40% only when you sell. Listing expenses are not too much. Some platforms will also list for free. But the minute you decide to open a brick and mortar store, the rent has started, salaries have started, administrative expenses have started, and there is no going back. So only and only if there is a very convincing case online, should you think about a brick and mortar store. So, and there also you don't have to start up with a straight away standalone store. You can partner at pop-ups with Shoppers Stop or Jaypore or the likes, and then go forward. And of course, the other B2B engagements like architects, interior designers for the marble table, the inlay tables, and all of those things are very, very welcome, and also hospitality. So offline retail is very cost intensive, and which is where you constantly see brands closing stores and opening stores and still not showing much growth. I mean, Zudio is a case in point with some very, very, very aggressive growths, and now they have opened to that extent that they are cannibalizing their own. So brand building, as I said in the beginning, is a very patient, thought through, and an exercise of passion. If you're truly wanting to build a brand. On the other hand, there could be only my own label under which I'm trying to scale volume. Slightly different approaches, but it should be very clear either which way. Maintain your export commitments, because that is your bread and butter. Keep it running, because that can feed your brand. When you need capital for your brand, so all the money can be generated from some other venue, because brand, to generate enough money for you to run a house, for example, on that will take time. It might take anywhere in the range of 3 to 5 years for you to actually be able to withdraw money from it. It will keep taking money in the beginning. So only and only if that is okay should you think about this. Avoid over diversification. Start with a very clear and tight product line. If you have 20 winning SKUs, you don't need any more. 20 winning SKUs across all global platforms, across an Etsy, across a Wayfair, across an Amazon.com, Amazon.in, across Jaipur, more than enough. And your headache is less. Out of the 20, maybe 5 will do repeat orders, which is good enough because the rest 15 I can keep tweaking till those 5 winners become 10 winners. And I don't need any more. I'm not setting up an offline store. Focus on differentiation, quality, photography, packaging, perception is value. So these could be the next steps for whoever is wishing to start. Think about your purpose, why you want to get into it, who are you going to sell to, define the brand name, register the domain, etc. etc. I hope I've discouraged enough people not to do this.
You have encouraged many of them rather than discouraging them.
Me too, I think so.
He has been encouraged.
So I think that's all that I had. Would be very happy to take questions if anybody.
Natural fabrics which you can try. One of the biggest pain points is leftover inventory. So there are certain styles which we really believe in, will do good, and we kind of, it's a very, very long lead time product. So sometimes we have invested so much time and energy and cost on it, but it does not sell, and we are left with inventory. And I just want to understand what is the best strategy around. Sometimes we have broken pieces, broken sizes. What is the best strategy around that? Of course, sale is one of the things of always having like a sales segment on your website, but sometimes also it kind of undermines your entire brand value. Even around sale, what is the best strategy of like a mid-segment D2C brand? How often should they go on sale, and what is the right mix?
Ideally, never. Sale is.
There's so much pressure with like,
No, I
especially
think
in India, retail. There's no fixed cycle of sales, and people just randomly go.
I think if you are a niche producer in a unique space and you have full control on your production, you should not have to look at sales cycles at all. Those are problems for the big guys like Fab India or website or Studio or the rest. They need to follow what is happening in the market. Who are you in the market? You're a small player. People come to you because they really see value in what you're doing, which is why you have that audience. So with that in mind, if I have complete control over my production, I would keep fabric loose, because typically what happens is that you either become over convinced about the style when you have designed it, or you get wrong on the sizing ratios. So if I have fabric available with me but not converted, I can respond much faster to the situation. So I go with a bare minimum one size set sort of launch onto my MBO footprints or my website, however you do it. And I keep the rest of the fabric open. So if my sampling guy can convert in 2 to 3 days into the style or the size that I require, then it's much better for me. Idea would not be to how to deal with the excesses via sales. Idea would be how can I optimize my systems better to have better control and responsiveness to what is selling. And I think customers are very happy to wait today. Any good craft product that I want to order, I'll be given, okay, it'll come to you in 10 days. And I'm okay, because that's the only place that you're going to get it. So there is no urgency for you to pre-produce and then see how to deal with the excesses. I would think fabric is beautiful, fabric can be converted into 10 different things. Maybe this style I was bullish on, didn't sell. I'll put the fabric into something else. I mean, that's my recommendation.
Our biggest challenge is that with chicken curry you have to produce it before you sell, because the lead time itself of getting the embroidered garment out could be up to 1 month.
Embroidered garment,
Yeah.
embroidered fabric is different.
Right,
So
so you
if
could
you-
leave it at an unstitched stage and
Yes.
then.
Leave it at an unstitched stage so that you have the flexibility to play around with sizing as it is getting absorbed in the market. And if you go with this approach, next time that you're thinking of your designing of the embroidery placements, create the designs in a fashion which allow for flexibility in sizing. or they allow you to sort of, you know, keep your borders separate and things like that. So custom structure the designs in a fashion which allow for this flexibility.
I run a handcrafted leather bags brand based out of Delhi itself.
Yes.
My question was, are there any key performance indicators for brand building? Like, how do I know the kind of investment I'm making into the images, the kind of back-end work I'm doing with packaging? Is it having an impact? Like, are there any numbers that I can follow to see that?
See, one of the core parts of the brand strategy is the financial planning of it. So if I say that, okay, I'm coming out with a new collection and I'm very, very clear on which is the market, what is the pricing, what is going to be the assortment mix, what are going to be the sizes, what are going to be the quantities, what are going to be the channels. So why should I make 10 pieces of this bag? Because I am going to put 3 on Myntra, I'm going to put 2 on Amazon, I'm going to put XYZ, you know. And hence it's 10, and maybe I'm holding 2 in my warehouse, so that whichever platform sells, I'm going to replenish there and I'm going to build 2 more. Like that, right? So all of this will lead to a certain investment in product, right? Which is going to be my FOB, if you might say, or my landed cost or whatever. So that cost is going to get retailed at maybe 3.5x on MRP. Part of my production is going to sell at full price. Let's assume on a good side, 60% will sell on full price, maybe 30% will sell on maybe 30% off, and 10% might not sell. I have to recover my money from ideally this mix of full price and discounted, and which will only sell maybe about 80%. 20% is write-off, will not sell. Typically, nobody gets it that right. Okay. So from that 80%, I have to still make a decent ROI. Okay. So all this math is built into the plan at the onset when you decide to make that investment into the inventory. And then we measure that, okay, we thought that Myntra is going to sell 2, this one is going to sell 3. So when I'm investing in a design, I should ideally be able to sell 50 pieces, and then it makes sense that my design investment is recovered or my production investment is recovered, right? So that drives the numbers to quantity, that drives the numbers to distribution, and even then, for all producers, I would never recommend creating all those 50 pieces upfront. I would say create only 10. Keep the leather available for the rest. Don't go sourcing for the leather as you sell, but you should be able to convert overnight if there is an order tomorrow. So work on those efficiencies. Work on those efficiencies, and then it's a matter of tracking sales. That, okay, these are the platforms I have listed these products. On a daily basis, are they selling, are they not selling? Which are the platforms which have sold on a full price? How quickly did they sell? First day, second day, third day? How many days did I lose to replenish? I could have sold more. So these are all the metrics which you have to monitor almost on a daily basis. Retail is detailed.
So, like, it's like a long-term process to identify if the brand is working or not based on the kind of numbers that come in through the sales.
Yes. Brands, you could sell a lot of product, you cannot, you could sell up all of your collection, fantastic, in like 3 months it should be over, right? In 3 months your sell-throughs of the collection could range between 60 to 70%. Okay. So, if my cost of production is only 30%, twice the cost of production you would have recovered in 3 months. You happy? Has that made a brand? No. You will know when you have made a brand when the customer comes back to you again. And do you have another product that they can pick from you? Then, okay. So customer retention, okay. Repeat customer purchases, right. Which means they are remembering you. They are wanting more of you. Right. How do you make that happen?
I'm a marketer and fine art artist turned designer. I've covered a lot of the strategies you mentioned in building my brand. I launched in November, digital first, and I've had 0 sales online. So I do vegan leather, craft-led accessories and products in home spaces, which are sustainable and of course craft-led. Basically do design interventions and crafts. A big product line of mine is handbags, which are made with pineapple leather, banana leather, so on and so forth. And the price points are on an average above 10,000. So in accessory spaces, if you go over 10,000, especially for an Indian audience, what happens is people want your logos. Again, my question is, I've had zero sales online, what do I do?
It's not such a simple answer because without seeing product or presentation or styling, it's very difficult to comment. But I would simply say, why vegan leather? You know, vegan leather, this whole thing started with the concept of sustainability and all of that, and hardly anything that you see in the market is sustainable. It feels very much like PU.
Yeah.
It's horrible to feel. I mean, we ourselves explored multiple materials, but I'm saying, as a customer, yourself, if you put yourself in the customer's shoes, and which all of you must, would you buy it as a customer and pay that price?
I won't. Yeah. That's why I started
Correct.
it. Yeah.
So, but how many more? So, before you launch or start anything, it's an excellent place to take feedback. So, I'll tell you what has happened with us, okay? I'm a pure Western customer. And I started with this belief that, okay, why don't we have craft-led shirts for women? There's a lot of working women, there's an M&S, there's a Uniqlo, but why don't we have Indian craft in that space anymore? Widely available at like sensible prices. We started out, okay, let's do it and created beautiful prints, this, that, whatever. Went into the space. When we saw the first line of samples, and we got it test fitted, we took a lot of customer feedback and all of that. And when I saw the first line of samples, it was like, how many women are going to buy this? Do I know of any women who would buy this? Probably not. So we had to go back at that point itself, before spending one penny on production, we had to go back and we have to redesign the whole thing. So I'm saying, I might love it. I should buy for myself. If I want to sell, I have to sell to an audience. So it's extremely important to understand who is my audience. Is it youngsters? Is it, because if it's youngsters who are very, very sustainably focused, very environmentally aware, want to make a difference, etc., they can't spend 10,000 bucks. If it's an older audience, well, it has to touch and feel good. It has to feel like premium leather. I mean, I could get like high design in that kind of money. Why would I? For a story which I can't even share with my kitty friends, why would I pay that money? So I'm just saying that who is the audience and why would they pay for this product should be very, very clear before you get into production. Sampling and all is fine. You can do 10,000 experiments in sampling, show them to as many people as possible. People are generally very afraid that, my idea might get leaked, somebody else might do it, nobody will do it. If people had to do something, they would have done it. So you can discuss with whoever you choose, just say, would you pay, would you pay, would you pay, how much would you pay, what do you think? Is it feeling right, is it touching right, is it too bulky, is it too stiff, what is wrong, is the color okay? Take all of the feedback before.
I did all of that for a year before I launched my final line.
Right.
But when I launched, I still didn't have any convergence from the people who gave me feedback. Now I say that was a box test.
Friends?
No, even people at exhibitions. I mean, I have a 2-year master's degree in entrepreneurship. So, at the college, any function that would happen, we were told to just put up a stall and they would come with officials and whatnot. People maybe
I hear you. What might be good is to sit independently, have a look at if you can give me your brand reference, I'll look through it and I'll probably look through it from the perspective of giving you objective feedback on what could be done.
Started our brand, it's got clothing. And what we've majorly been struggling with is marketing. So we've been selling on the third-party websites, we've been selling word of mouth, Everybody that knows us has been buying repeatedly from us. Our main concern is we've had 3 agencies that we've changed for marketing now, and it is impossible to get work done from them. Would you suggest we go for freelancing? Would you suggest we probably do something on our own? We are still struggling with that area.
Why would you come out with an apparel brand which is called clothing?
No, no. It's a clothing brand.
It's a clothing brand, and you're struggling for
performance marketing.
Marketing.
We are not making sales from our website, but we're making sales otherwise.
Again, I'm giving you generic feedback without saying anything. but typically the thing is that all media investments need to be directed to your own website to build traffic and recall eventually. So, which means that I should be able to, what happens is when you are very third-party marketplace heavy, for example, you do not have customer insights from them. So you don't know who is getting tapped, but all the effort that you're putting in your own Insta channel, which should be linked back to your website, because all products should be tagged for instant purchase to your website. And maybe your website can have a much wider and much more exciting portfolio of product, and maybe at sharper prices, so that Myntra doesn't complain. So your B2B portfolio could be slightly different, B2B appropriate, but your personal portfolio should start building up into something very, very unique. And somewhere you need to start bringing in more people onto your website rather than relying there. So the way I would do it is I would make money on the third party to give them more product of mass appeal, which they are selling well right now. But enhance the product quality, aesthetic and pricing and margin on your own portal. Because on your own portal, you are going to save maybe 30% of costs which you will pay to Myntras. So invest part of that 10% into marketing and bring it all back onto your website. So the agency, if it is smart enough, should be able to do that for you.
Well, considering we've already changed 3 agencies, it's we sometimes have a little bit of difficulty. There's a lot of communication issues. I don't know why. And yeah, that we're just not able to find a good agency. We've really struggled for the past 1 year. Yeah, 1 year. It's
Okay,
not
again,
been
I
easy.
think, sorry, we have to close, okay. Again, I think let's connect offline. We'll probably need to look at more of what you do and then talk. Okay, I think I've been told it's all for today, so so thank you. I mean, this is our email ID. Should anybody want to reach out?
If you have any more questions, I mean, Atriji is here with us. You can discuss with her over tea. So, thank you, Mr. Raj. Thank you very much. I mean, we have a lot of brands amongst ourselves. I mean, for me, it was an eye-opener in the sense. There's Play Mango, House of Akam, Orange Tree, Decor Card, Amrapali, Peroma, and so on and so forth. There are a number of brands which have been created by our exporters. They are amongst us, and probably most of them are also part of Egypt Teddy Fair. So these are very encouraging signs, and I can see a lot of young faces here who are ready to jump into the bandwagon and create a brand for themselves. So it was a great presentation, and I hope they take cue from this. And when we meet again, so we have some more success stories to narrate in this. So thank you very much. And before we part, we have a memento to be given to our guest faculty, Mr. White. I would request Mr. Kohli, a member of the board, to so thank you all. Thank you very much for joining us. Thank you.